Yeah, keka ana making be achira mu. Na de bia okun brochure ho. De bia ti dakro ba akona. Brochure ya short. Ma me se chenchina Methodist aso den yamane brochure yi no kra bem so be pie kra ko. Ene man ni bi. Tafi ye tu ye him ye we say ma me hwe book nim. Na osha ba akos amame se encha de esi ni traze. Also me hwe mfonyi. Me hwe. I won't pretend you will understand most of the terms used enti military no ebefum. Madam Penifo ase, lay president in Penifo, and they're confident that I'll be able to pull this. I assure you that by the time we are done, your money will be worth it. Right. Usually, I will not, on the usual occasion, disclose many of the things that I have said. But your school, your professor for catcher said, so your doctor organ and our patient or you do more. Or you do more. Tiwe kran inkitu omuponi. Inkitu omuponi. All right, dear friends, this afternoon we discuss a very, very, very important topic that to many Ghanaians, amodi. I remember, the first time we passed out to work, 14 of us in those days, emu 7 Echo Accra Psychiatric Hospital, emu 7 so-called part-time. But anytime I was entering into Accra Psychiatric Hospital, I will hide. It's says, doctor, you're Dr. Papa. Now, but down for doctor there, you know. Now, the whole idea of mental health and our mental disorders is derogatory. Amodi. Ti yedam penifo asese enne. Penifo amakwan say asafumu Methodist Church to see bit may discuss such a topic. And so I present to you mental health matters, breaking the silence, restoring hope, healing minds in the church. You can write and you can put me on record as well. Now, the topic of mental health has rapidly progressed towards recognition in Ghana now, which hitherto, as I mentioned earlier, used to be a sparsely said conversation. Now, although not on a full scale, as widely spread by the Ministry of Health, it has made some remarkable gains. Now, however, this is not the case in faith communities such as the Methodist Church. Now, although the Directorate of Social Services, through its Health Directorate, has made some effort in putting up a document on mental health advocacy, the need for content education of mental health disorders and their implication to the church has really not trickled down to our societies. Possibly, I am of the opinion that the church has not fully adapted this. As alluded to earlier, Ghana de se yekase sebe adwinimu yade anase sebio obi abodam anase obi humfa no adwinimu a de ye nyina yekane se ebia na emfrifia na ya befu yare. And so as much as the whole conversation on mental health is denoted as taboo, those who suffer from mental health symptoms are often left to suffer alone. And again, I refer to one of the things I saw at Accra Mental Hospital, say, Sebi, emofra omadwinimu eka omawofo eduomo ebabeto the children's ward, and sometimes will not visit them at all. Sometimes will not visit them. In my own practice, do baby na yede oyafo no ebrewa utimu se ebusuafo ni nhye de nku ni ho bebre. But I wish to let you know, say, eye yade eye adwinimu yade eye yade ebetimi atu obia. I remember at the VIP ward, my own professor was brought to me. That was the timer. Na bekaya those the kikijan yede ne beto the VIP ward. Now, the striking surprise The WHO has said, out of every 8 people, there is somebody who suffers up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, yare. WHO neka. Eti WHO say, yemfan to just say, ye enipa enwotwebia kenkan wonfi baaku mienu akokosia baaku bia has a mental condition. Now I do not know what the number is, but let's assume say 300. Enti statisticians and mathematicians, please extrapolate na yenhwe every count of 8 bia baaku a wo mu eyare. Enti misra hwe onuanim de means as a meaning how far. These are how far. How far? Also saying. Now in Ghana, 13% of us, was strategic planning office, directorate of planning, method is for your number, said the number preside between 700 and 800, we cross 1 million. Oh yeah, 13 of us in Koyi. Now, surprisingly, the number of people who sometimes suffer, no, as some of our doctor, a question say, or chairman, don't know dear, what church say, every Ghanaian has 10% of a certain neuroticism and other psychosis. 10% or say, no mama ubia, but out of us, no, Now, in my practice and in the literatures, yes, say some of the issues are itimiba ayasabebi anamebubo nidi. In Ghana, there are about 5 major conditions. The edika yefrebibi schizophrenia, edini etentempa about the bogu. The etoso a substance abuse. Afe the etoso ebiemu a mood disorders. When yadea miensa enimdefo agye atomo se eba Ghana ha dia sa miensen eno eneda eso ebia schizophrenia ebeye classical psychosis de menya sure se obia eyare, but the friend mood disorders na eduru baby friend personality disorders no edi yenya pa some betia social media nti bibia ba friend bipolar obia bipolar yebedu hosisia. Now, what are the symptoms and causes of this mental condition? And sana yebeko hono, the church is not so placed, and usually the church is a little disadvantaged when it comes to mental health. Mental health and the characteristics of mental health are a little closer to spirituality. What is psychology? The study of the spirit of man. The study of the mind of man. And the study of mental processes and human behavior. Nia sebe na dwene mu eha na kakra duru ba bia otimi yete se oya ye honhom mu neoma bi. Now, and so because of that in the church, sometimes we do not know who really is in the spirit and who really has psychosis. Ya na untumi hu. Na wo say no so free ho a asafo no ye ba bia enipa eje ayarehwe. Enye sa ana abodi anase nimudie nkrata mu ye yono, but the church sometimes accords itself as a place of healing. Sa na tie babro e kire se yetiminya ayarehwe. Now unfortunately ebi de onwe sibronya dua omo asori dan ni bi ni omo prayer camps ni bi eye baabi asebe enipa bi adwene mu ha mo ye de omo ko ekokoje ayarehwe. That is one of the disadvantages. And they have been involved in a study bia yakwa ya chichiri ebinom. And again I refer to some of near yaye se metnase se mehwe enipa out of every 5 will be a beba unchen bi nipa 4 akosofo ho se ye mo mpa ye ma no anasa wakoma alam ho se yenhwe no anase wakodunsini ho se yenhwe no nti mo be kai a na nsemu ache kakra media fo ye news coverage bi nkrophobia na ye do ma hye stocks mu ye di chin atoto ebinum nsa eno de ye be fro no classical schizophrenia to the way they were border but de eye enketenkete na edi yenya na nso so yen hyeda enhu no eno ana ye ka ho asemi me professor bi amene ne ye adwuma kan US Medical School ye friend no oye father Professor John Apia Poku sane no extra there e was the same place me bedi method software ya na me call it so father as they say there me fi aho na mako baby foforo san say me kodi met to me fo say futu am do tu ne say o kwa kodi software we Roman we Methodist me a Roman you can who say asore man obia yare na me bu mi tum sampa omo yare pa sorry man sena my probation akakra ti na me hu owie no de to asese nanso kan hu se sofo wo yare pa. Now the moral lesson of the fact is that asoreba ehu timi dodo no ana sofo so ehu etimi dodo no owie no de to asese nanso sofo yare de ya na entisa soba yare ya na soba yare de ya na mu yedene. So remember that you are one of the sick people, and the mercy of God has chosen you from among the sick people to help fellow sick people. Meaning, we am fan share yetimu say, "Onyankopon fie obia eyare." Inti abra me bobo symptoms yi wudi efrim. Na hwe baabi a wo yare efri. Now, mental health submits itself in a general problem of health. The WHO defines health, health as a complete state of physiological, psychological, social. And I have told my students at the medical school that as a Ghanaian medical practitioner, you must add spiritual. So now I'm defining it. The WHO is saying that health is a complete state, physiological. Number 2, psychological. Trimu, atinkamu, niyoyemu, cognition, trimu, niyoyemu, behavior, ana atinkamu. Ana afe so uni enipa so nkita hudie. Socially. Obi etimi bufu obia mani bufu efie mponche onu obia ya kama eye na ye no onu nko ase we see ni table or ya sorry ba. And then spiritually we can also have it. Now mo de to aso say health is not the mere absence of a malady and say a disease. Entinyese honam se honam dodo na untumi ntu nan koma ana se woko aspiti ana se wako se malaria bi nko na wo yare o. Name for the purposes of what we discuss here, our professors in those days will say 30% of the physiological conditions are yedeko aspiti no psychological. Trimu atinkamu ene niyoyemu. Sana psychology ni te me defining it chi say obi ne yoye behavior nothing can feeling and affect and as cognitive mu entene no na aye no bohu ono a wonte ne ho aso bi say me kra me ente me ho asi o na ono so ewa asori dem. Now in view of this, yes so ye ba ya yes ye kira de ne hu say the percentage has even moved from 30% to close to more than 50%. They say yade baby yade ko say a physician omwa na bibi ntimi nkoyie no bebre na eye adwene mu enti sabio odidi ha ome Sebio when we say onya weti kakra. Sebio when we say bibi hanu ewo ne nan mu wakwa ya yenya hwe kire se ne nan no na psychologist patcher said then we need to also query the cognitive effect. If bibi mind and body dualism so wutia sebi ebe so he hwifu akanfo momoame so wutia okay. And so come baby the kasa ye be to and the sebi on say so tia na so to sebi into patch say eti any eto no sebi ewo enkita hodie enti tikitu asakore ye eti mitisui ade bi betimi ewura mu a ebe ha honam nyina ti mo pa mo pon a mo de monye experiment mo ba bomidin okwa odi asu abonta no ama won so mensa ye me ya ne kan 10 times won sa anya wo ya mo wantwa hwe a bra metumi kola. Now it is therefore telling us that dear ewo adwini mu no etimi ehama nipadua ni nyina ekwa atwe. Last time ben na call hospital hospital for cross red pen na hoto doctor nim pen na hoto so wo kona wo yare pa obi be check ni BP oba no oyo cause so a routine medical checkup after be check na BP na kosoro. There is the position of the mind that itimi bo ntia fe men check ra me na me dia ba na wiye. Now mental conditions can manifest in a wide range of symptoms ntia fe share. Number 1, change in behavior. One can say to so suban sesa oh sorry anyoma wote nyesa na nyame bo me wasesa enipa hu se wasesa wo so kura hu se wasesa afa wuntumi nidi ohu aye oboho sebe wa ware na otumi e kompa so di mpa so agora na utumi hu se ofrom pa na wahwe ase oprom pa na wahwe ase ma me bia oba clinic na all complaints ni kunu ene yare ono enye ono ene yare okay yedu jafo ba na me bisa ne nkomodidie mu a na me say mama dien ana eha uku na wo ka so ni kunu from party say adwe from party sad me say ade na say na papa no say obre na ne bre mu soso no ne yiri ade bi oye ni nti sabio or concern ani a na dwom. And I have presented the paper somewhere in America say most of the so-called aphrodisiac effect I say ewo ensemu no bebre na ne dru ba bi adwene mu oye wadwene se obepuma na emom okunu ana woyere a sabio aka kire se kwase abema ana oba tantan de oye den ni ebedwo straight away. Enti sexual appetite mo say mon nyoma kofo mu nyina dodo na timi ye adwene mu afa excessive worry nyoma how bibia how uti wiase bibia how afa usro bibia obo dayemu obo you are afraid of everything. Now listen to me, it is not normal to be afraid of everything. Now I'm saying yeah seminar be Emma all morticians in Ghana na mosomfo sofo agika ye frɛ sɛ me na me no monye sa seminar tina ye bi se bisansa me na pani ano mu pa or retirement or ye adwuma one of the finest mortuaries in Accra. Tina me bisa mochuma de na usro na obi aka ne de me do chief mortician so no so do but you know me I dey work with, I'm not afraid of anything. Now I'm saying menka efun ne saman because mortuary ye hu saman da ebi ni ho but de na ma usro ogina wa o se owo mortuary man so usro owo. Now the point I'm making is that everybody is afraid of something. Obia wa ne master obaifu okra Kennedy Japan okra eyenyum mufeze eyenyum. Now but se won ko awusro no ebunkan fa wo so na chese bibi eye ahadwene wo a ye so lighter wakomatimi bo peri afi ejuma kora wo mpese obetimi akobi eduru ba bi a upese upra ho da no student bi edi ni free school ba akumi eba ono ose ne rate mi ho ana otwitwa ne ho enti de bia no ahye cardigan pacho munim cardigan And no one called St. Peter's. I won't share that cardigan. Sweater. Abrantia no me nene kasa oya ne nsa na mu se watwitwa ne ho. Ana say school na okono ne rate me ho ama otwitwa ne ho a ana o feel so ye nipa. Now, he is not the only person. I have had clients come to me undi on ho abro. Undi ye Christopher ye di kanka but ebi ewo ensem a yen hyedan fan to enipam. Obi wa wotimi di no akofe no asamba. Methodist for ennom nsa. Choboy. Na so ne reho a wonom o se Yesu de beche me. No asan koto ase. Now, there are also some signs I behu ewo nkwala mu. Muntie nkwala de, and this is my concern. Akwala no nyese wabon onimade, but bibi koso. Most of us parents here na yen sheda nhwe yen nkwala, especially when they change in attitude. Difficulty in sitting or paying attention. And I'm not talking about toddlers. So, no, I'm sorry, no, about TV, no, doom, no, in 5 minutes, change channel 100. And yakwa. Afe ono akwala no a ono no ontontu ya no se bibi ha no se mama bibi ha me medwen ho ami hu ade a etimi e ha me afe so akwala no ye fre bibi tantrums go chese obeyi nipa no okoba. Now sa adwene mu yade ehefa na free ba. Where are these mental conditions coming from? Eyampa se eyabonsam yade se de ebinumu keka no esan se asafo mu de se sebe nyame mfa saa mbo se ne sofo agika megina he maboda mo a anka dien ananka sebe mubeka so yanka ye ne ba ya agbeni sofo ani hu se one day bibi beto no. Now sometimes saa ne eka and we'll be getting there soon, but ekwan ben ana saa adwene mu yade efiri ba mpacho muntie ne yie de edi kan no momiehwe ne yie pa ye fra bibi genetics ebi wabusuam tumbeka ya beti abakosem bi se sebe se ye fa obi ohene ana ye fa obi abusuapani a ye kwabusuamu ekokohwe se sebio bodam bi e wabusuani mu a na me ka kire mo plane nya plane fan se wabusua eye 1000 na one day obi ba akokora etiminya adwene mu hawa. All of you are susceptible to adwene mu yare. Enti show mame, show papa, show nana, show ma. Enti akwala onyi obeto ka no na mo na obisa ka akobasio. So I have realized that most of the things we go through even as adults, every kind tete unresolved childhood conflicts ebi wo ho a eye natural and normal. Ne wure hoho na maka no nanso woni sika bidi te air condition mu kra na mfifrate no eno no de untimi enye wo hwe. Now say ade we ye ka wo classroom de anka student babies as it say, how then do we resolve genetical or biological predisposition to mental disorders? By your ho akande wo ho afi obi a woya bofra no nitikobo bibi twede ye gaw etimi ema ukra wunya a certain brain injury edu baby kra utimi nya a certain brain infection afi life experiences and as a nyoma ekoso wo ya brabo mu. Typical story akwa bi otena obi ho na oya houseboy oboa wo ye ma na aduane ni nti wo ya na enkrofo no da wo fie ho a na wakotwa omubrodo na wa hye fridge echi na wadi de bia brodo short wo fie ho ani e friend bi san say miko brodo ye short yi o papa ono nko a na di brodo bi eni nti o de ye wo aka ni ye hu so na omo so nyame me do nyame de ne sakantasu de wo wiem ana maame ne ye na dwe so betete no ti one day ye hu sakwana ko gina fridge ho so ma chiwe satan no wetwa brodo na hye nanum akwa ne se obie na no abrodo no beto fom besi ne osro brodo. This is a true story. And some of us could equally have unresolved childhood conflict. Obia wo kwan ya wonyi ye For those of you who have heard some of my songs, I grew up partly on the street. For a very long time, I'm intimate that paso. I just made that for me. That paso I'm intimate na. I just made be a form. To me be a former through university. Because when I sleep on the bed, I'm not able to sleep. The typical street life. Do you appear to be behaving abnormally in your own opinion? Now, so who san your man when you na ne can say, Sanya adia, ewo mojamu, eye mojayare, anya adia, and also secondly, a certain injury to your brain, and as a certain childhood experience. Na, just say, and usually in psychology and as a medicine, you can say nature versus nurture, which one is stronger? Now remember, some can say everybody can be susceptible to a brain injury, to a genetical predisposition, and an environmental issue. Now these are some further risk factors. Then we can look at the breaking the silence. Now has anybody experienced trauma here? Ukoto accident be so. Oh, papa, now mommy insulted you in a certain way? Did somebody abuse you in the house in a certain way? Assembly can want some and also so a dark baby. So a certain young girl went into a house of somebody. Na okase nenukum. Ana papa so when you come there me won a dining pabibri and also oda papa nankasa empaso. So ano die. Na papa no so say ana wa ba beda mempa so na wada de ase wo frefre me ana papa no koye say okoye ni bibi. Now the case is before me say why you traumatized and ye bi say ti den na ye nyama we be ma trauma na tete akwa o say ye ntua no $50,000. But I mean we are na messenger information for say papa ne say obefa baby e ntwato so. But these are some of the things. Sometimes people can experience significant stress. I remember the story very well. A medical school mocho ye call her ana professor Eka say mema mo ha nyina mo say mema sabi o mawu dos ne say professor ono se wo se mo so mo ko eye mo amobeye psychologist akad mo say sebio maso wo ho mo tini ye nyina ebisa na o ka say oh the equation is very simple. More women will make more men die. That is why we have more men in the mortuary. And also I can say oh more men will also make women also go mad, and so that's why we have more female image. It was a joke. It's not substantiated by literature, but in the bodies we receive a mema dos. It could be say mano amaya bodam bebre. What are we going through even in our marriages? Medical can say sometimes some biological issues can also cause this. Now, afe yamra ya safumu. Medical can say adwunu yare eye amodin. And so even in the church, and for that matter in the Methodist Church Ghana, say obi etirimu entine no anase oyare bia sen ye behu. And so for all of us who are in various societies, say yate say sister bi ekuo bi papa bi ni tirimu entine no anase bia sofo agika say ni behavior bia oye ye nyina ye de ani bi ebehwe no. Nano na mi bisa ye osofo pon Pratt interview mo amohwe na bisa so what his saddest moment in ministry no school abro di presiding say lay for beba no ma ba ka che ne say presiding osofo we yempe no sesano emaye ana madwene call story bi so a obi susu koko hu super ka say sofo we ye gidi say bibi ehano. Now the question is that why na ye diagnosis no? But the nyina ye wo obia betimi ayare. But how do there is a stigma in church when it comes to mental conditions? Sesia ye we say ye be sense of skitwe bi na ya hwe yen ya ye wo ha na say ya carry near exercise, Kakasha one more, Mutirimu, a how many one more Mutirimu, how much Kabibri Johnny. It's answer will be a new person, you don't know ever share a yes category. Now, culturally, ye jidi says, Obi Yaresa Yarena, and Fra Bayfua, Nefri Nifie, a san say, Saya Radi Entna in Nipumu. But Medica say, Obia betimi ayare. Now, men ya wagene say a mental disorder, says you, Obi or Wakwan, Watija, and as onum got a moonsu da be. Anything that is out of the normal is abnormal. Now, surprisingly, who to me for when you who can say, Akwe Meshawa, one ye no, why you depressed into when you're depressed, you can't do that. But people are going through a lot of things. Now, sometimes people choose to keep quiet, and how do we break the silence? Na meme, mitiri muhame, bibi hame, mintu minna, me tete. Makuma bo peri peri me mekanchro menka dien anka obe kachre me. Now, because of that, it makes the church looks like a monster in quote. Entimi kra mwa ema yentimi nkeka ye ho eyare enchre ye ho. Now, sometimes people choose to keep silent about their mental health struggling and conditions and put up brave face, pretending to be okay, but meanwhile they are suffering in silence. Me se senka ye ratadia mo obi ehu obi echia ka obehu se ebi epra chen ebi. Now, somebody has said, it's only in the Christian church and the wounded is either killed or wounded the more. How do we break the silence within the Methodist Church? Se sebio se obi ehu emfano medical ka say eye adwinimu yade enye wo fault say de bia wo sorry na ora ho enye wo fault say de bia ye wo say fase kan wo ho enye wo fault say de bia wo pese udidi ma wo fit na wo san ba biem. It's not your fault. Meaning me client bia ori jebidie or you addicted into odi fufu aju otwi jebidie gusu amanfo yare odi ampesi aju otwi jebidie no de gusu ubi son say eno enema no appetite enye obi fault. Now, it might seem like it is an easier thing in the church in reaching out and asking a minister, a class leader, a friend, or an organizational leader for a help. That could be either. But many people who are struggling with their mental health suffer in silence because they don't believe the leader. Look, one of the best ways of treating mental condition is to first get a first aid of Ubia Betimia Kawasam Wachreno. Saseme Hame, a chirmeso. Mintiminya she wompa me sofo. Metaria na why. Timetimia kwa catch circuit steward, circuit steward, software. Me don't brother. Me a hame. Minyaya nanka unim baby a metimia fa. Me wiano. Ose ne sheshi or TV so. Say na de oyenyina. Now how then are we able to restore hope? Heal minds in the Methodist Church. Now, addressing mental health on a national and church level will require creating some appropriate social and educational forum. Kasa mi kese me shasia ne de 30 minutes ebeto aso. We can't use 30 minutes to address it. But the fact that we are telling ourselves is a real issue. Among for yade. Ebi kra, me kra. Me hwe wono asabio wan dwen mu eha wom no ebi kura me so me wo me yade na osofo ye kasa kire wa wuntia na member kasa kire wa wuntia de opese wo ya na we so munya mekum nipa me de mabufuo ba mekum nipa. There could be something wrong somewhere, but can I begin by trusting somebody? Now we are saying that the first thing we can do as a church is sensitization. Intimatro ewo me buku mu ha. Now, if possible, the church could dedicate resources into expanding mental health services in our hospital. Unya mental health services. Ewo baby into we major tertiary hospitals, ne secondary hospitals na. Ube nye bi. Aji ebia wako uwon kraya. Ne ebia Accra Mental Hospital na wako. Oko 37 oko Kolebu and some of the regional hospitals unsa ebeka. But pass uko eye yinkrasi into the communities and into the district obienyo. Ti akwala na ote classroom nyesa wa bon. Meti ekiro na mehwe eye Facebook ade bi. Na nsense mu nsen kwala ya wade. Ana kwala ba akwa class ni nyina mo ye 49. Ono nkwa 48 over 49. Papa no so awade no emo a wono ama akwala ni kosu etuetuem. Okoje results by 48 over 9. Akwala no wabon na not so possibly, but why ene ebehwe no na wetimi ama na dwene mu. Now, could our weekly Bible system osofo ampon waha and the children ministry inculcate discussion on mental health? Enkwala ne yenya ne wo na so ya chichem unim ade unim hwe o wabon uti te so papati asheni trim ti akwala ba ko oso ote ho a de bi ofilation fa pencil sabi enwo amanfo achi wo mo achi send me say aden o say they said I'm a killer. Yes, ti your friend killer into your pen we are no dia wo so asheni trim so ye killer. Could we dedicate some space weekly Bible lesson in the Sunday school curriculum? Could there be a connectional policy? Say Methodist for there. Say you say a yampa. Nano amiko fusu eko kasa on the menace of drug abuse in a polluted environment. And penifo ebabe kasa achire say no. Emofra emabuna wo area ho. And it is not just there. Yenye wo university campuses. Me more university be edin but o fechire wani denden dia nka obetimi ehun baabi a me pa kire na ade asa na ye mai edru baabi sometimes the girls are even the couple their friend shisha no ba besi etimi twa nanam ne hwinum beka se kusi a ye bonija. But when these children come to school, come home ube bisano no na ebia efie ate TB. Now the lay movement can also provide some resources for mental health care and rehabilitation. Moshe WTV ayewo Pip Test Institute ewo Kumasi Kochi. Ya adwene say we Methodist now about 50% rebate there. Udemu free. Ubetimi. Accra has so Neptune Medical Center wa haya ubetimi aba. Now can the lay movement at this meeting decide say yen lay movement ye befa mental health say ade die akumas? Because sometimes enkwala ni bi ba for rehabilitation. Now she akwaya onu mu cocaine would ni made. Now so na dwene wu e wo nyoma oye. Well, another thing I am more ye ho modern wo Ghana. Any bi kra Methodist asafuni. The Christian Council is deciding to look out for mental disorders among Christians. Ayashase ewo ethical review summary. But as same way you raising the baby now unko esan say a Christopher there ye den de abodam esusu yen sebe and I'm using abodam derogatorily ye den ka so obi adwene but she said ye wo hemanim suspect for bebre ebi akra na wo because enim hwe no ebi o ha e suspicious but obey den na wo hu onipa na dress shepe bone collar Jematadie ash bomikola mijina ho me ho nyefe se sebe bibi ewo mitrim na enko ya obeden na wehu. Can the lay movement take up this? It will be among the first. Yes, a lay movement of Methodist Church Ghana. Edi esi menu so say mental health research, mental health rehabilitation, mental health treatment, any mental health management there. Ye di esi ye ni so ye. Now in conclusion, the importance of mental health cannot be understated. Now, far too long, it has been shrouded in secrecy, stigmatization, prejudice, and discrimination, leaving those who suffer to suffer the more. Now, as we move forward, we must all learn to break the silence, especially in the church, because only when Ekoka say session leader ejina woncha say blue are blue to me read that Osro se obeka esan se oyekuo penny. Now we are surrounded by fancy, sometimes inability to bear a brother up and as a sister up. Esan se ni ono kono ono asoso no delba. Now can we ensure as a church and lay movement that care and urgency is given to mental health so we can all present ourselves to Christ? Now I say in conclusion, say every mental health condition can be managed and can be treated. If we don't use medication, we can use talk therapy, psychotherapy. There are people who are trained to do this. Again, let me say in conclusion, say, any counselor be any bit my baby in the church. Dear ya dear who say dear ya boa a marriage counseling for social services. Ye numa ye bebre no counseling premarital, postmarital do baby and thing. But can we be able to institute competent people within the social service coordinating officers? I bet me a boa ama we no nyina akoso. Well, emrena so intimidimu besi ha na ye wo question bia and no question. All right, you were question bia. Oh, mo bon some erade dia. Enya me de erade nsembo ana mo do. All right. Afi pacho coordinator saying na ye fa questions. Chairman sir.
Yeah, that's it. So far, you come on, man, say money view. Enti ye penny pabe 4 maximum. Oh. Okay. The best safe. Who person contributor who bet me? Who person be some questions so within the 4, no, either a question or a contribution. What person can be biano? Bra animu. 1, 2. Kwame ubedika ode. Yansa men's for way.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, ni passe. Okay. Yeah, starting fee.
Yeah, so Branty. I always tell you, so crowd won't feather do the Beman and won't fess I would day. But I'm missing a whole feather to Bema, so who if it be for so many and your first. Where's my basis? Anyway, this issue is so important that it is the whole state that has failed in this regard. Because you see people in such conditions walking about, some naked, subject to vicissitudes of weather and health hazards. And society is not doing anything about it. And we even mock at them, make fun of them. Nobody is doing anything. You know, I have some experience that I don't want to even tell you, but I must. In front of my office, a certain woman who was mentally deranged was walking. She was half naked. She only had kaba. And the rest, for the men is worse because after the men it comes out so you can see it. But for the woman, only kaba. But she was holding something and it fell. And she was picking it up and I was standing behind her. I felt so bad. I felt so bad. And nobody cared. Society did not care about this. I thought you would look at that area. That we don't care as a nation. We failed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Kwame.
All right.
Yes. So the lady first. She was there first. Okay.
Reverend, But so I want you to throw more light on the duration that you can diagnose someone of having behavioral disorder or mood disorder. If we don't take care, we will live here, not go be because of mood disorder. So I want you to throw more light on the persistency or the number of months that you can diagnose someone say nipano or mental behavioral disorder and some now they go hospital. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Joshua.
President Semidasi, Pastor the maybe say, this topic I only treating. Has it got a relation with safeguarding? If yes, I know the church started something. Could you, with your background, help the church start something on it again, so that the Odemale movement saying spearhead, because the church, we can take it along from there. Thank you.
First three, no, and you're trying fourth one. First three.
Hold on, first.
Okay, first three. All right. The Edikaya parsley ekayan. See, I've been in this space the past 22 years. Na na make say, ayampa abana muno, any society na muno, edi hamopa. Because enka kra no say, obi be ko school no afa sa profession we. Yehu no kra ye so na abadam for doctor. And the society itself and government itself has failed all of us. My admonishment, what do we as a church is answer le movement and who say adie here. But even with all that, my concentration is that Sabio, one more we half naked, and then one more we naked dear. Almost the Enkayam fans or the Oma teacher. But my concern is always us. Adie tete still yenya who say tete and so so as much as I'm calling on church, saying so many mental disorder is treatable. Sometimes I don't use curable, too stringent, but treatable, manageable, and there can be rehabilitation. Say the nipanity, but what do we as a church? What do we do? Well, nobody has the audacity to diagnose any mental condition except you are trained. But you may have an inclination, say, wait, ye mesha de warrior no abroso. And kokancher ni say wayare, yes, or vetros or yare pa. Usually, o catch any pancras on koja, I blows. Because hey, what's my bottom? Or me software, you can't meet me about them in 20 minutes. It is only a trained person. Now, trained person, you go through several diagnosis, assessment, and some why a diagnosis, and some who say sebi, BB, how or otherwise. So you can't point to somebody. But yenina yewohui. Na software method, software member, masha skirt, edi abokola. Me pacho ekoyi. Me nye Scottish, me I beni Ghana ni. Ye wo leaders meeting. E be a software team, lay penny be team. No, sorry, I yo be as a mon farmer sorry no we pay. The person cannot be normal. So let's point it out. And afi safeguarding asema okaye. It is not that there could be similarities, but Directorate of Social Services, Dr. Sego, my name is Dr. Sego Aha. Through the health directorate, put something together on mental health. But as to say, ye debeye juma na yama adisuano ne adechirano akko bebre no, and no na share down. And that is what I think say. Lay for them from kofa by, and Kravova ka say nyanya keba ne gbesha. Muna mutimi she bibi ase na ya to aso. Please take up this project very well, and we will also support as well. Till we can take the last and then.
Okay.
Thank you very much. This particular topic is very, very important.
Yeah.
I'm saying, yenyanti asenti na yemfa ya dream course unti no. Edi yenya bebre. Ena nimidia yenni nsunti no. Emwa yema yentumi, because where do we refer the person to? Even though we know some mental health is dotted within some regions. Your case be on Miankasami society. lady no yen shed essence yen nim die nti yen shed da entumi mmoa no say me fa ne say ye be ye wedding na de na ba otiase all right wedding bia ena ya boa na say ya try nti okọ ankafo na sisi a ne akodu ne sɛ me fie na ɔbɛgye aduro go aduro no de man ɔnnom nti me fie na ɔba anɔpa bia na de bia anɔpa bia ɔbɛba bia mehwɛ no na nti no as a church then ye betumi ayɛ de abɔ sa
Okay, yeah, that's it.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Last but one,
I will serve.
30 seconds now.
It's a contribution.
Okay.
So for now, I can be today more from and one. About for baby, over Razim Biala, me did it on bonnet. And also the new Pebiara bonnet. Nay, our phone. To that man, Erica, yetim points the Yambe in Yimazino. Me experience, me what twins. Now, queer the pa, but a coin yardy, paying yards, a caca and yardy. Into one day, I'm a friend one. Now, me catch a caca de caca. The way of paying, Onimaze. So our corner will fail, me fail. Na mamma, paying, while paying various school age out. Into Bomazan, na say, or Siadia, concentrate na, made so that pick be a pick. Na any paying compete. And make a shanyam yam. One resource bear, no caca and put to paying. And paying no soon your bad. On your fraba or your bad. In America, is to do that, especially Sunday school teachers in Arden. Sometimes I want my programs in a worry and what my frabana. I found a beyond perform and away in this in now I for beer, only mad.
All right.
Now what's not yet?
Yeah, that's.
Hey, Obia.
Thank you.
Thank you. Obia capable. Okay, please. Who do Kujiraho? We are now so to us.
Yes, Reverend, there's this unusual.
Hey.
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
No, 15 seconds.
50.
15.
Okay. 50.
Go ahead.
There's this unusual condition or a patient I encountered with in Techiman. Yes.
Use the mic.
Now, unusual condition I encountered in Techiman.
Meant you.
Unusual condition I encountered. A patient.
Unusual condition I encountered.
Oh, an unusual condition. Okay, all right.
Yes. An unusual condition I encountered. A mental health patient, I know what teacher. But one day I returned from Tamale to Techiman around 2 a.m. I met the gentleman weeping. So I sat in my car for a while and observed him. He beckoned me to approach him. I thought he was going to be aggressive and harm me. But when I approached, he said, Minuya, share me. Idwana jo, if you want you kwa, minyare. If you are humachi, bear 4 echo, my bodam. The doctor, is it possible?
Okay. Mature.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Doc, Mibisa de come clear for us. Yes, there's this belief that kids take their intelligence from their mothers. I know a certain home that was broken because of this issue. It was as if the kids were not performing and were alluding that perhaps because the mother is not intelligent. So we want you to come clear for us. Is this true? And if it is true, what is the way forward for us? Thank you.
Doc, I'm also not well positioned to, like you said, determine who is suffering psychologically or not. There is this experience where every time there is altar call in the church, every time there's altar call, you find that same individuals coming forward to be prayed for. And then this other experience where anytime you raise your hand, you have individuals who will fall under whatever spirit. That one too, I think that we should be looking at. Okay. It can have some semblance to whatever. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let me take the last three nafi, this last two nafi. I'm feminist. Enti dear yebra eke, it is actually what I came to address, but emrini sointino. Now ya debiaya na ya dwene akọ sebe. One more mati jatem from ano aircon. But yenya yeshia heya suswa and no be AD. I kept repeating this. Said you okay, ono no didn't say, ono ne wiase na why ye bone. Bone for adoma esinifie. Nti de bia na ye kan eso kono kokokoko ebisa bone fafri. Metie sofo bi last week no okase TV so say afei no hu de ntia Israel mema no efa abo se omoto abo oba no ana yese wabo adwaman no tina metie pa na manya apo bi etu no so wahu ana sofo ne say wonya revelation say emema na ne ku abo ni nyina omukọ se nko omukọ pa oba ne na ye bibi ana oba na mpene. How can a minister say this? Abotare. Me bo minister ni din amunyina mu beye dede sesia. Now, how can a minister in his or her senses say odo oba pemfo ebeto fom no ode ne na wona ya ase say me de hon kronkron edua na ya ase? How say software proper etimi ebai obanum ewo chapo num no se matunta so agu mu me de hon kronkron agu mu. Now I am telling us that Dodwana enkoye presiding bishop Boafo Efreno SSS and on yes no. I want us to be looking at the little foxes are AD as individuals. Ye kuye hon silently. Maybe I'll conclude on something when I'm concluding in the last 30 seconds. But the young man will be a question. Look, Machra there said they can close to 22. I've never seen that literature. Say Oba Adwene Onima there and the bois me who's a literature. So I won't lie. As a researcher, I mean the evidence the year Juma. But I don't solely believe that intelligence is only from women. I don't think so. At the end of the day, speculatively, they made me say intelligence wohoi a genotypic characteristic. Someone to me say genotypic characteristic, huh? Enti enipa mienu na wo ba papa ebi anu onimade maame ebi anu onimade all the rivers akwala befa adinimu a ebetimi efri baako or otherwise because a genetic transfer prof adelai enti mi hu sa literature no enti no mi nyina hanka se mi hu intelligence can be from anybody eda mi hu no next time meka but for now ma mo ho safo hene enka se mo na mo de intelligence ahye yemam emema mo so ye mo ye ho asafo hene ni nyina afiri obia ne obia. Now the last question, it wasn't a question, it was a contribution. The last two. Now for Yampo.
Boss of me now say.
Yeah.
But you church no my yet say as say. Me am na Mary Mewu. Na Mary man so Emma me anso bodam wonti mo kan wo. Na me bisa say papa na mama wo fie. Na asumdwe ni fie ho. Na worry away a emofra na wo wase no so no ensunsuan so ben na won so wo benya ena mpacho de echa to ne say minim mofra bi a wode won to nipa baako na wonyin no wonyina ise won adwurum ka wo nipa baako no wode won to wo enti nipa tu na wode won to nipa baako no adwuru na munye papa na eno so e
de ye de ne to no na so na adwenya papa sa
no de me de me hu ni mom but me nye ni say aha
okay all right yo Okay, Pacho, we would do.
So, payment as meeting the lay bishop, the whole world, lay bishop. So, payment did that, I mean to me, it's a oh, here, ya dambo, sika, tomam. And I'm asking, my Lord, can poverty, number one, cause mental illness? Abuse and violence, can it also cause mental illness?
All right. Okay. Please let me answer. Obianye dina muntie. Mutie. Look at me carefully. Anything, including poverty, can cause mental disorder. Anything, including. Now, the problem is my ability to interpret what is happening to you. Uhia de nyame mfa me ho nya example. Mumpo bi foforo ne mfa ne nya example. Okay. Me we are bi ana me mfa nya example we are na mama me mumu. Mo na me mfa se me gina he maintain. So far you can maintain me be me car me twi me dey be aso red to you. Na me be hey enti me niska enti ade aso red enti koja me kwamu na me yeden enti koja me kwamu na me enti koja me kwamu na me yeden me kana me ti apamia o si me ti fa no awato ne ho manya migraine me car mu na aso light red na me ba na ejina nya me ameka ejina me pia said ye tie bia mo na mo twen me amama ba be kasa enti mo twen na me ma mo fa momomwe e me frɛ me. Now two people addressing the same situation. Enti enye the thing happening, the interpretation of the thing happening. Obi edi hiada, obi susu edi hiada. Aden obi nko ade ama ni hia no. Yes, sika ni ukotoko mu a ema adwendwen ba. But adwendwen moroso ena ye ka ho asemi. Ene yesebe, ori jawo, ukunu jawo, ubewu udidi na nkasa hia ni nyina timi ema sebe adwenu. Na mom depends on how you interpret the thing. Esi enye esi. But said ya wo ka wo de no me wiase nyina ba na wieye odupon bi otutu efie jedum. To odam pa no so nyina wa kan sele na ade be china ni BP ni nyina ekoso. Enti having the right emotional intelligence to interpret what is happening is what I came here to do. So benya satirimu pono edi ejina na ade no entimi nsi. Enti ohia ebetimi ama adwenemu yare, ohia soso betimi ama obi ayeyie. Esan so odwen ho no, waye na adwen se obeye dwumadene na ode ewie. The last question no, abuse. Men kind of abuse na eden. Oh yes. Me can waha. Abuse can really cause a mental disorder. In fact, muntie enye an abuse. Unresolved abuse. Unresolved. Because me papa ne bo maso na mso ono kra o yeso jeni obo maso mo enye hwe. Me sie tudie ba da enye hwe. But obi so Jesus tro no wadwendwen ha. Oya me papa wanka kontimi nya mesa de oye mi. So it's all the position your friend of predisposition of the mind. Adwene ni mu a eye drufa ene adwene na emu ye harefa no eno ene duru ba bi edi yenya timidi wie no ye series of autopsies we need a year project bi na ye hwe the number one killer of people in the metropolis inti mu amotiti krokese mu nyina mo de na ebe ene hu se eye bibi e fra no cardiovascular stress induced conditions. Entino yes wa anyare but the way autopsy wie no yes stress ne ku no stress no so efiri he ade bia esi wono wo dwen ho muni ma de friend broken heart obi na eja me no so ompeme na wo so ompeme asa metime anya obi foforo but then tesa ne do akohye ni mu to wadwen na form bra And to take this away from me, it is your ability to handle the situation. May your last example again. Among me much reform and me bisa the most admirable female mortician. Lady no said you timi a year ne neoma e wo modern mani gene ho say. And am bisa na say. Me who say oh ye bodies mu adwuma na ni timi eje pa o. E say adentia. No say oh ono no ni maami ewu ni papa ewu na afa susu ni kunu susu ewu enti ho na onya na ni jefa onwo bi adwene enti wo madwuma one day ama mesiesie funu kura ne ho ntene no ti wo ma no body so ma me mo eyo no na dwene ede na hye wutrim ede na hye mimitrim se yebetimi enya ye ho totroto de a na gina kwan a ye nyina ye fa so eni tirimupo a ewo ye tirim awurade nkan ye ho na oma ya dwene mu nya dene na ye nyina ye na so me pa che from your sofo agika me ye method the sofo. Thank you for having me.
Oh, woman, standing ovation.
Me pacho briefly mama no question afa na sofo penya o say ye de obi eto obi ana omumienu nyina abodam enti mu beka ya me bisa said de ne ye de na to no no so abodam ana na o se daabi afa mu nkan se maka se eye gin na etimi ma mental disorder eban ebitimi na mobusuam ebitimi ye genetic ti ebitimi abasa sankwala mienu nyina no naturally omenya genotype bi a 7 etimi ma enipa nya adwene mu yare eno doctor ne betimi akirikiri mu entimi nya befu yare saa kwa. Thank you.
Enti enye try de no to ye do mo to no nti no mo bodam so fani ye dase pa enti per the last conclusions no one who said if indeed you can say 1 of 8 bia wo issue I believe we are now understand that. Yes or no? Na yenia nso yeka ho adwen no edos impossibilities bebre de see ene so any issue be a bebe bia problem bia you say oh wait there me kwa na me there to say, and that is what is driving us into this situation. Now say areas no move very very fast. And most youth know the way they go about things and all that, trying to catch up. I believe all these contribute to the state of mental health for us as individuals, as societies, and also in the entire community. Enti, young consumer eradin paye. We did say Yankopon, ebetumi aboye ama ya overcome some of these stresses that come on us. So for the car, oko. At this stage, yes, I'm going to invite you. Drew about two questions combined. What are the reports of the diocesan councils and connectional organizations, and what are our recommendations? And then, what are the reports of the Connectional Lay Movement Council, and what are our recommendations? I will hand over to the secretary, and then my husband was a thesis. I can say, let's listen.